Hello there. In presenting this DVD on the French defence, I have two aims. First, to offer you a repertoire for black against white's main responses. And second, to explain typical strategies for both sides. I've structured my repertoire around 10 main games. I always feel if you're learning an opening, it's best to look at complete games, and that way you can see how strategy unfolds right from the very beginning and throughout the game. Also, complete games, I think, provide inspiration to play an opening. You know, if you see a wonderful game by a strong player, then of course we all want to try and emulate their strategies. So yeah, but I think that's also important. We need a reason to play an opening. This is an interactive DVD. That means that at key moments in these games, I'll stop and ask you to try to find the best move in the position, and of course afterwards I'll give feedback in video clips. Before we crack on, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the repertoire. So here we go: e4 and then e6. That of course is the French defence, and black plants his pawn in the centre of the board with d5. And in game one, I'll be looking at the exchange variation, not exactly the refutation of the French, but still reasonably popular, and we need to know what to do against that. In game two, I'll be looking at the advance variation. And then in games 3 and 4, I'll be looking at the Tarrasch, and I'm proposing, well, something of a sideline actually, but a line that I've had some success with black, and I've really enjoyed playing, and that's a6 in this position. You could also arrive at this variation via c5 and then a6. Often leads to positions with an isolated queen's pawn for black and very active piece play. Then we come on to knight c3, and I'm not proposing to look at the winnower variation, but actually I've always enjoyed playing the classical with black. It's really been very popular over the past 20 or so years, and there have been lots of new ideas in this system. So in game 5 I'll be looking at e5, and then there's bishop g5, which I'll be looking at in game 6. I'll be looking at the main line in game 6, and of course it's very important to know what to do against the dangerous Alekhine-Chattard attack, and that I'll be covering in game 7. In game 8 I'll be looking at the Rubinstein variation, taking on e4. Now this leads to very different kinds of positions, but it's always good to have a little variation in your repertoire. Then moving back to this position, in game 9 I'll be looking at a related system actually to the Rubinstein, and that is the Fort Knox variation, and that can lead to similar kind of pawn structures. As I said, good to have a bit of variation in your repertoire. Of course you can also play this against the Tarrasch as well. That's the advantage of this line. And then in the final game, in game 10, I'll be looking at a system against the King's Indian attack. Of course, that's quite a popular system for white players. So there we have it. That's a brief overview of the repertoire. Let's crack on with the games now, and good luck, and I hope you'll really enjoy looking at and playing the French defence.